And now we're heading to Spectrum Lake.
Alright, so we decided to take the girls on their first backpack camping trip to Spectrum Lake. We are just headed out now on our way and just turning at Frank's General Store here and going to be heading 46 kilometers up the logging road to Monashee.
And about 14 kilometers past Frank's General Store there, the dirt road starts. Another couple K after that, you end up crossing a bridge that you can see right here. This is the outlet to Sugar Lake. There's a dam down the river, so that's why the water is so low at this point in time. And you continue on this road. It's a predominant road for just about 40 kilometers, and there'll be a spur off to the right. Just gotta keep a lookout though, sometimes the vegetation creeps in front of the sign. And I'll be heading down Spectrum Creek Forest Service Road, a couple K in, you'll cross this bridge, crossing the main creek. You'll cruise up the left side of the riverbed there for a while. It's a dirt road, narrows down a bit, but still in really great shape. Get some good views of the valley, the rivers below. There'll be a turn off to your left that takes you to Rainbow Falls if you choose to do that. I've got a different video on that. I'll put a link in it in the comments below. You can have a peek if you care to. It's just a short, easy hike, really quite worth it. As you continue on this one, you'll eventually hit a hard left-hand hairpin, then it climbs a bit steeper. Don't need four-wheel drive or any high clearance vehicles or anything. There is quite a few clear-cut areas and middle road spurs heading off left and right. Just stay on the main trail. You shouldn't have too many issues at all. Eventually, after 53 kilometers, you'll cross this final bridge here, and then there'll be a nice big parking lot on the left. Made to the parking lot here. A couple other cars, so we should have some company in there. One might be the Ranger, I really don't know. There's the sign displaying everything. There's a big map of the park. We're going, we start off over here, and then we're going to be hiking in Spectrum Lake. 6 kilometer hike, relatively easy, not much elevation gain or loss, but always a good time. Pretty good views, still some snow in the mountains. Hopefully there isn't too much at the campsite itself. And hopefully not too cold overnight. The start of the hike takes you right across the Spectrum Creek here, and then you wander around these old growth cedars and hemlocks. The trail basically undulates up and down for the next 6 kilometers. You end up crossing probably 5 creeks, so it's a great place to stop, cool down if it's hot out, refill your water.
So we're 10 minutes into our hike and we forgot the soother for Bexley in the truck. So Tyson has dropped his bag and run back to the truck because she still does need it at night. But they're having a good time just hanging out waiting.
Alright, we've come across the 5 kilometer marker now, and this is the junction in the trail. It's the only real fork in the trail, and if you turn right, which is the way we're going, you go down to Spectrum Lake, 1 more kilometer. If you go left, you take a higher road and bypass the lake. So it's another 14 kilometers to Big Peters that way. 9 kilometers or 8 kilometers, I guess. And down here is 1. So we're up here for the easy road. The uphill is quite a grind. It's about an 900 meter vertical elevation gain. We'll show you the ridge when we get to Spectrum. quite nice. The girls, nap time. They're awake for the first 3 kilometers, or maybe 4, but now they're just sleeping. Oh. Hopefully we make it all the way to the lake before they wake up. Monashee Park was established on Canada Day back in 1962. It's just under 23,000 hectares in size and consists of 4 major lakes, and the highest peak of Mount Fossil being just under 3,000 meters. Alright, we're in Spectrum Lake here. I'll give you a little tour of the area. It's a place that's pretty amazing, I think. They have these setups for your tent and everything. I'm standing on one right now. Just a tent pad, nice level area, and designated campsites. Same with here, elevated thing. Quite often you'll find these lean-tos as well. Just like a 10 by 10 shelter with a picnic table. Probably at least a dozen of them around here. There's probably 20 sites. I'd say a good 90% of the sites here have pretty amazing views of the lake. You can see some of the big mountain peaks in the background. There's a bear pole over there. I'll head that way a little bit later, and we'll just continue on with our tour. And 50 meters away or so, you'll find the standard drop toilets, or whatever you want to call them, outhouses. They usually take pretty good care of them. The park stock them full of toilet paper and stuff traditionally. I think we're here a little earlier than the rangers, so they haven't quite been maintained yet. Yeah, they do this big clearing for emergencies and stuff like that. There's a ranger cabin there. I'm guessing there's a radio inside, judging by the tower. The rangers usually here during the week, summer months. But like I say, we're here a bit early. I think it's about the 10th of May right now. You can see there's still snow on the ground. We're probably some of the first people here for the season, so it's still a little bit rough around the edges. They normally have firewood as well, sorry. It's usually just deadfall that the rangers cut down from the trail side. They don't cut down any trees for it. They don't helicopter it in, and I don't think they really stock it much anymore because the fire season is so bad that they try to discourage campfires and allow more camp stoves. We're coming up on the bear pole here now. You see another washroom in the background. They have this thing set up so that the animals can't get at your food. The bears I don't think are too big of a problem here. I don't think there's too many that come around, but squirrels and chipmunks and mice, they will get you. Pretty basic, nothing too complex. Except I can't figure out how to open it now. There we go, wrong way. You open it up, hook your food onto it, pull it up, and there's another hook at the other end, all the way to the top, and then your food stays out of reach of the bears. Kind of a deterrent away from your tent. Works quite well.
Tyson making some dinner. Girls are eating bun and hamburger. Such a peaceful night. We've got Bexley asleep. Got a fire going for us. The loons are sitting on Loon Island. Hope you can see.
I'm just going for a walk now. Just kind of around the outside of the Spectrum Lake here. Still a lot of snow in the hills. Like I say, it's early May. Great time to be up here. No people, no rodents yet. Chipmunks trying to steal your food, and just a good time. In addition to the basic campground back there, they've actually built a facility just over here, and it's for a group campsite. So the Boy Scouts, school groups, things like that. It's probably, I don't know, 300 meters or so from the main area. Has a big lean-to, its own washroom, and like a bear cache, like a chest of drawers kind of thing. I'll show you a clip later on with it. I'll edit it in and such. This is actually a really good place because they actually have a creek running through it, so it works really well for getting water. The lake's nice and all, but it tends to have a little not film, but like a dust and debris and sticks and just floaty, so it's a lot easier getting out of the moving water here. I'll turn you around here. There's the river. Here's the start of the group campsite. So they basically have a whole bunch of tent pads quite close together. Like I say, if you got a school group or Boy Scouts where there's younger kids, you don't really want them too far apart. But they're just in a cluster away from the main group of people. And then they have this large sheltered area where it's good for hiding out in the rain, because they do get a lot of rain here. And they actually have, like I say, the group of picnic tables. There's a little fire pit for barbecuing stuff. And they also have a common fire pit area right there where everyone can sit around and do your deal. And still great views of the lake. A little washroom. Yeah. And this is the BC Provincial Parks runs this thing. They take care of it. They have a ranger that's up here quite regularly in the week and such. It's I think it's about $5 per person per night. Kind of an honor system. You can buy your passes online to stay here before you come up. Just bring it with you. They also have a drop box at the entrance. And there's maps and signs, and they show you all different kinds of trails. This extends quite a bit. There's Slate Mountain off to the left. There's a trail that kind of wanders up there. Like I say, you get to Little Peters Lake, which is probably, it's a bit of a grind, 8 kilometers or so from here, 800-meter vertical gain. And then another 3 kilometers past that will be Big Peters Lake. Really nice up there in the Alpine. You can zip behind a Mount Fostel. You can't quite see up there. That's another 1,000 meters above Peters Lake. You continue on further on the plateau up past Peters, and you get to Margie Lake. You can also have another entrance from the Revelstoke side if you're coming down that way. It's a bit of a bush run and not as well beaten, but it's a good way to get up the Alpine without doing this big grind up to Big Peters. So highly recommend it if you get a chance. You can spare yourself some energy, and so I think the switchbacks, there's about 15 or 18 of them, and I think they average about 1 kilometer an hour going up there, so it can be grueling. Here's that bear cache I was talking about. It's just basically a steel box. Some of them have shelves in them, some of them don't. This one you can see is empty here. Alright, Monashee Provincial Park itself, it was started years ago with hopes of protecting this rare caribou. They're not found down here, I don't believe. Most of them are way up in the Alpine, up Peters Lake and beyond kind of thing. Not many people see them, but they made it to hopefully protect them. So like, you can't bring dogs in the park. They don't want anything scaring the animals and stuff like that. So something to think about before you come in. And the park itself, like what you see here, Monashee's, what I was talking about with Peters and the Spectrum Lake, part of the Gold Mountain Range here. The park, 90% of it at least is not really accessible with trails and such, and you can't bring planes in, so it is protecting the caribou. That's the main goal definitely for it. There is grizzly bears up in the top
I've never seen any personally. I have some friends that have. I've seen prints and tracks and stuff like that. If you venture off to the eastern Valley of the Moon, or the northeast, I guess. But wildlife, it's definitely around. Not to be scared of as long as you take precautions and, like you say, put your food away when you do. Don't make a mess. And just do responsible camping. You shouldn't have any issues. I find the biggest problem are the mice and the squirrels. They kind of get in everything. The bear poles I find are better than those bear boxes, just because they, like you say, the bear boxes, they have little holes in them and those mice can get anything. They mostly protect against the big critters.